he's loose again. Edwards off the running. Buster back down to Edwards. They hand it off to Johnson. Boise State has won. Right now, and they take a downfield shot. And the catch is made. It's Ryan Williams. Still sitting free. Touchdown.
All right, everybody, welcome into the next edition of the Gridiron Uncensored podcast. Tonight, it's clearly Minnesota time for the preview, and we're rolling through these, getting through the Big Ten, and soon, it's kickoff, guys. We're getting close to week 0, so we welcome you in. I'm Brendan. Good to have you here, and I'm excited to talk about this team. There's a lot of hype from what I'm seeing, especially in the Twitter world or the Twitterverse, however you want to say it. So I mean, Drake Lindsay, that's the guy that everybody's talking about, right? So we'll talk about all this. We'll talk schedule. We're going to hop to it right now. When we do these previews, my partner and I, we usually do a quick look back at 24 or the season prior. And then we jump into, this year. And kind of, we're doing a macro outlook. Okay. We're not getting too crazy in depth chart, all that craziness. Some people do that, which is great. We're just doing the macro side. All right. So kick back, relax, grab a drink, and let's get into it. All right, Minnie, you're up. Over under for this year is at 6.5, and you're returning 52% of your production from a squad that went this in 2024, 8-5. The start was tough. Tough loss there, North Carolina, 1917, and then kind of just really up and down, had some decent stretch there in the middle, losing to Iowa and Michigan in a tough game there, in Ann Arbor. And then you get the wins against the new Pac-12 the new Big Ten teams from the Pac-12, USC, UCLA, take down Maryland, take down Illinois. And then, you look at the Rutgers loss and Penn State lost back-to-back, and it was so close. Gosh, it was so close. But then you finished out strong, getting the Wisconsin win, and then also the Virginia Tech win. So there's some building blocks there. Again, 52% return production. A lot of that is from that team, and then some from the portal. And we'll talk about the portal here shortly. SP Plus, Bill Connolly numbers, he's got you rated as the 40th best team in the country. And last year, really, your offense knocked those numbers down. It's all advanced stats. And the SP Plus, I think it's a 4-year running total of recruiting stats from the year prior, stuff like that. Recruiting rankings. So we're sitting pretty. It's not a bad spot to be in. There's room for improvement, especially on the O. We'll talk about that. The numbers from last year: 107th offense, the 5th rated defense last year. You guys know it as if you're Minnesota fans, but if you're other fans watching, they're maybe like, oh, it's Minnesota, which a lot of people do that with the Big Ten, as opposed to the SEC, where they see a team like Kentucky and they're like, oh, man, it's the SEC. You see Minnesota, and a lot of people are like, oh, it's Minnesota. They suck. They're like, no, God, that fucking drives me crazy with the perception of these conferences. There's a reason we're doing the Big Ten last, and they're the best 2 straight years in a row. But that's beside the point. Things are looking up, in my opinion, for this squad. Coaching side of it, we talked a little bit on the numbers, but now coaching. Yes, the defensive coordinator of that 5th ranked defense did move on, but you promoted from within. Danny Collins, he's been around with Fleck for a long time. Coaching continuity is huge. It's sometimes you can get away with changing coordinators all the time. And, especially in programs when you're like a Bama or Georgia, you can, or even Ohio State, Michigan, you can roll through these types of, coordinator changes. But still, does not matter to me. I like coaching continuity, and that's what Fleck did here in hiring Danny Collins as the DC. I think it's a smart move. And you also help keep the team intact in a way that too when people know who they're still playing for. So to me, smart move. I like it. Harbaugh Jr. is still there. There's still continuity across the board, and then of course Fleck, he's doing his thing. Good coach there, and I think he's doing good things for Minnesota. All right, portal wise, 29th class in the country, 22 in, 20 out. Uh, I usually do, talking about key players coming in, kind of just from what I'm seeing. Some of these guys that are coming in, some of the guys leaving, I mentioned them. And then obviously we'll talk more as we go into the roster. Uh, some of the quick ones, I mentioned all the offensive line, coming in through the portal, crucial. Guys like Dylan Ray, Defy, coming over from Washington. Uh, multiple players, Marshall coming up from UCF. So it's all those are crucial. So I just put offensive line, and then I end up fucking naming them. But it is what it is. Malachi Coleman's another one. AJ Turner, and then Jeff Robertson are guys that I see as key ends. Key leaving Coleman, Bryson, Philip Daniels. Obviously that sucks. You guys know. And then Mick Williams, another one that looking at you guys just leaving to other Power Four talent or Power Four teams. Some in conference. That one always gets me, but it is what it is. That's the way the world works now, right? All right, let's go ahead. So you get portal class. I think it's good. I think you hit pieces that you need for the most part. Some defensive line talent, coming in, edge rusher, mentioned linebacker with Jeff Robertson, couple running backs, but really, I think the main one, was the AJ Turner. Adding him to that roster is going to be nice. So let's go ahead and talk offense because we know how important getting this offense on track is. When you had the 5th ranked defense last year, if even if you could have been in the 50s, in total offense, you'd probably win another 2 games, last season. But hell, who knows? Maybe even more. But looking at how are we going to get this thing going? You lose a talented quarterback, but you got a young guy that everybody says he's ready to go. His arm talent stands out. His size, obviously, when you look at this guy, he's got this body that you expect from a Big Ten quarterback. And of course, we're talking Drake Lindsay. Strong arm, all the practice reports, everything that I have read and people that, I talk to, they say this kid he's going to be it. This is the dude. Quotes of the most talented guy I've seen. And I believe it. I'm from what I have seen from this young man. I think he can do wonders, but we don't know until he actually gets out on the field, and we're going to find that out real damn soon. But to make a young quarterback's life easier, what do you need? You need an offensive line that actually fucking works. You need one that can get the run game going. And yes, you replace 3 starters. Some of the portal help I mentioned, I think that's going to be really critical to this team. And maybe the depth concerns me a tad, but maybe just for the rep side of it, I think the talent, it's Minnesota. I feel like you guys are always getting good offensive linemen, always going to, steady up front. But so I think it'll be that way too. It's just how quick are these guys going to gel, and what are the top 5 when you come out of fall ball here, which is starting this week. So something to keep an eye out for me, and really what the floor and ceiling of this team is, and I'll talk about that at the end of the show. Top receivers too. You obviously lost top ones, so it's kind of like transfer committee and depth guys that are coming in. Javon Tracy coming up for Miami, Ohio. Loya coming over from UCLA. So there's some guys that are coming in to help. But really lean on what you got. I think it's going to be all right. You lean on, these transfers. You got a good tight end at Greer. So lean on that. Let the young quarterback, feel it out and just kind of get comfortable. But then you're also going to lean on what? The run game. You've got to run. And Darius Taylor can do that. If you don't know Darius Taylor by now, if you're not a Minnesota fan and you're like, who the hell is Darius? Just go look him up. Okay. I mean, if you're a college football fan, you should know who Darius Taylor is. And then mentioned AJ Turner coming in. I think that's a really nice duo. So offensively, if they can get everything going, if Drake is as the truth as they say, and this offensive line can gel, okay, Now we're cooking. This team can do some damage. Defensively, mentioned Danny Collins coming over, or not coming over, but taking over the position, and how I think that's vital for this team. He calls his defense a havoc defense, so it's aggressive, attacking, uh, which I'm all about. You got to be aggressive. Um, I like bend, but don't break. I'm a fan of that style myself. Uh, but if you can't create pressure, your back end's going to get freaking fried all the time. So I like the philosophy there from him. The defensive line, I think, is going to be stout again. I think this defense is probably going to be a similar situation, at least top 20. Even if there's a little fall off, I think it's going to be good. Uh, the defensive line, mentioned that stout. Logan Redding, Eastern, coming. They're still there. Smith is on the edge. He's back. He's a talented guy. I want to see maybe some more pressure, but I think this team's going to be just fine. Um, the depth was added by the portal. Mentioned that earlier in the episode. A couple of defensive linemen, Rashawn Lawrence. Where's he at? Stephen Curtis coming up. A lot of FCS type. But there's nothing wrong with that. People freak out when they see like the emblem next to the mentioned, like with the helmets earlier. They mention oh, it's coming up from FCS. These guys can play. It doesn't matter, and it adds good depth. Uh, Another one coming over from Purdue, Amanode is how I would pronounce it. If I screwed it up, I'm sorry. I've said a lot of names this year going through these damn previews. But either way, I think the depth on the D line is going to be good. The linebacker, that's a set position. Baranowski, Robertson coming over, mentioned him earlier as a crucial piece off Oklahoma State linebacker. He's been involved. He's flies to the football. I think that's going to be a really nice pairing. Then you have good guys behind them in the rotation that have reps, that know how to play the position and how to play in the Big Ten. And then really the back end, you are replacing some top corners. However, there's talent back there. There's guys that have gotten reps as well. And, I think when you have Nestor and Bowden also, I think this is going to be a fine unit. And then you talk safety room, and you got Brown. The dude can get after it. 63 tackles last year. He's another one that flies around. Maybe am I forgetting somebody? I don't know. Oh, yeah, I am. I think you guys know who I'm talking about, and that's Coy Parrott. The dude's a freaking beast. You see him as a freshman last season and what he did. So you take another year to development and him understanding the game and the speed of play and everything. Oh man, this kid's gonna be real good. So I think this team's gonna be in good shape for 2025. Really, the defense, like I said, even if there's a little fall off from losing, corners and maybe stuff early until these other guys get in the rotation and get set. Really, it just depends on how this offense, moves, and really, it's up to the offensive line and the quarterback, and how well they are ready to rock and roll early. Let's go ahead and talk some schedule here. Pull it up on my side here. I'll get it pulled up on yours too. Sorry, let me get it. All these dang pop-ups. All right, here we go. Looking at schedule here, Buffalo, and really this is a great start, in my opinion, for this Minnesota team. Buffalo is a tough group of 6 team. Look it up. I mean, I'm telling you, these guys are going to be solid, but this is a win, okay? But it's a good way to get kind of your feet wet. And then you get Northwestern State. You get 2 games that you can, again, get this young quarterback up to speed, get him comfortable, get him maybe some confidence and some momentum going. And then you play a Cal team which lost a lot of talent. We did a preview on them earlier. If you want to go kind of see what we're thinking about them, it's on our YouTube page. But they do have young talent. They've got a good 5-star quarterback came in, so there's potential there for him to really spark things. It's going to be an interesting game on the road. I think you guys are going to get it with the defense, and then you jump into Big Ten play after a bye week. Rutgers, I think that's a win. And then you kind of get into it here with a couple of tough ones: Ohio State, Iowa at Kinnick, disgusting. Always tough to play there. Nebraska, and then Oregon later. So when I looked at what you guys have and who you're facing, uh, floor, you probably won't like it. I said over under 6.5. I said floor is 6-6. And it's not what I think you're going to do. That's just kind of like worst case scenario. Lindsey's not ready. Offensive line doesn't gel. You drop games that you shouldn't. You lose to Cal early. You lose to Ohio State. You lose to Nebraska, Iowa, Oregon, Wisconsin. Northwestern, I think, is going to be more dangerous this year with Preston Stone at quarterback and them kind of gelling with their new coordinator. So I could see that route happening if all goes to hell. But I think this team is talented enough with what they have on defense to be in every single game. And then I think if you can get this running game really going for this young quarterback, get him comfortable early, I think you beat Cal. I think you beat Rutgers. Ohio State's going to be a tough game in Columbus, but they also have a new quarterback rolling in. I know everybody's excited about saying he's obviously clearly talented. We'll see what happens. I'll still chalk that as a loss. Purdue, they're trying to get better. I still think you'll get them there. Nebraska is a tough one. That's probably, I'm saying I think you guys can pull that one off. I do. It's in Minneapolis. That's a maybe a pushing point there. The Iowa game at Kinnick, to me, that's going to be a tough one. I like what Iowa's done on offense to kind of get things squared away. But again, still very winnable game. Michigan State as well. Oregon, I think you guys can win Oregon. I'm looking at all these and I see a chance that you guys can win every single game. I don't think it's going to happen. But I've got the ceiling at 10-2 with losses to probably Ohio State and I'd say either Nebraska or Iowa. Oregon, I think they're a solid team. They got a lot of talent. I feel like you guys can take them down. We'll see what Moore does at quarterback, but either way, you either lose to Ohio State and Oregon or you lose to Ohio State and either Iowa or Nebraska. I think that if you go 10-2, that's kind of how it'll shake out. I'm more leaning towards like the 9-3 side. Maybe dropping a game you shouldn't, and then just kind of going on it from there. But still, 9-3, I think would be a great season for this Minnesota squad with a young quarterback coming in and getting his kicks off here. So let me know what you guys think. How you're feeling? Are you very optimistic? Are you kind of easing it in? Like to hear about it in the comments. Holler at me. We'll see you around. Thank you for your time. Hope you have a good one.